Welcome to Fans Assemble, where we come together to talk about all the things we fan over, like comic books, movies, sports, or anything else that we love. We hope you enjoy the show.
Ibombe!
Ibombe!
The Fans Assemble podcast. I'm your host, James. I'm joined by Ray. It's typical. This is another Marvel movie, so we need to do another review.
Yes, another
We're going to do a little bit differently this time. We're going to do a spoiler-free review because if you listened to this podcast before, and I'm sure that if you were listening, you probably have heard him, our other co-host, Mike, he has requested that we possibly wait for him to do a spoiler podcast. So we have a little bit of delay. You can blame him on it. And if it takes too long, we'll just do it anyways. So Ray and I are going to do spoiler-free. We're just going to talk about, did we enjoy the movie? We're going to get into some questions perhaps that some of you have, like, did they make the right decision going forward with this franchise, with the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman? How do they handle it? Is it just a good movie in general? Things like that. So those are the things we're going to tackle. So first, we're just going to get into how did we like the movie. I'll go first because Ray has requested as a voice that he cannot go first for this one. So I will go first. So this movie, I thought it was very good. I thought it was solid. I think it's probably one of the better movies of the MCU. I mean, not movies, better anything of the most recent phase for Marvel. I'll probably rate it like a very strong 7 out of 10. I thought that it added something. It moved the franchise forward. It paid tribute to Chadwick Boseman, which they needed to do. It's obvious he surrounded the franchise, and I thought they did a great job with that. I do think that some parts were a little bit draggy and a little bit unnecessary, specifically in the middle. I think specifically the middle part is the only part I had a problem with. I thought the beginning did a great job of, like, you have some emotional things going on with the family, some character development, some relationship development, and then in the end, it reminded me how much I love the action of the first Black Panther movie. So those are the two parts. The middle kind of like didn't have either one of them. It had some good parts. It wasn't awful, but it just didn't have those parts I really liked. So what was your the first things you got to say about the movie, Ray, when it comes to did you like it?
I think it was definitely one of the best, like you said, one of the better parts of this phase so far. And I think it was a good ending too of the phase, right? Because I think this is a conclusion of Phase 4. So
yeah,
but it wasn't
kind of like a new beginning type of feel.
Yeah, but it wasn't like overall, it wasn't like hugely connected to the rest of the MCU. I think, like you said, it was mainly about like Wakanda moving on from Black Panther's death. So, like you said, yeah, like basically, I mean, I think for me, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10.
Okay, so a little bit strong. I could agree with that. Yeah, like I think overall theme that you and Mike have been getting into in our other podcasts. Click down in the description below to listen to those where we talk about She-Hulk and other shows. You guys said how it's a little bit of like Marvel's going through. I don't want to say it's slow, but it's more like it's kind of like maintenance,
like a restructuring.
Yeah, they're just trying to make sure this is in place, this is ready. Like obviously we need to know what's happening with Wakanda and Black Panther before we move on. So that was kind of like that's their answer a little bit to it.
And we'll discuss more likely in like the spoiler review. Like there are some cameos and like some pieces that are getting set up for future stuff, but that'd be too much spoiler territory. So we'll hold off for now.
Yeah, it's definitely focusing towards the future, but it's not like I think what you said. It's no like
let's say it's not like Phase 1 ended with Avengers.
Yeah, it's not like the Tesseracts. The Tesseracts in the background.
Yeah, like
it's nothing like that.
No.
To be honest, if you're a Black Panther fan, I could see you being like, there's a lot of good stuff to look forward to the future. But if you're one of those people who just like kind of watch Marvel, then it's still a good movie. You still watch it, but it's just not that type of thing.
No.
So we're gonna get a little bit emotional here. because I was a little emotional thinking about this one. Excuse me. Did you think that they made so this is kind of like two questions in one. I'm going to combine them. So obviously, they decided to move on without recasting the T'Challa character,
Mm-hmm.
and they decided to move on from it. We're not going to say like how they moved on and what they did, but that everybody should definitely know. Not a spoiler, so don't come at us for that. Did you think that I'll go first. I forgot about that. So I'm going to pose a question to you and the audience, and to you, Ray. Do you think that it was satisfying the way that? Do you feel like they did a good enough job to keep it moving forward? Like you didn't look back and say, "Oh man," like I understand why they moved on, but I still kind of miss the actual like original Black Panther character of Prince T'Challa. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll go first, and then I'm sure this would be the major chunk of our podcast. For me, I thought they did a great job with the time they had and they had to, you don't try to wait like 5 years to make a sequel. Of course, also because it's part of a phase thing. And then the character that they showed him in the trailers, and they introduced this character Namor. He's a big part of the Marvel world, so you kind of have to feel like they have to do something with him, very soon. I thought that they did a great job. However, and maybe this is me because it made me realize, like, wow, Chadwick Boseman was really excellent as Black Panther. I did kind of miss a little bit because I did feel like, wow, could you imagine seeing him and then Namor on screen together? Like that would have been epic. And as you and I know, Namor is such a big character in the Marvel world, and obviously Black Panther is a huge character in the Marvel world. And it feels weird because at that point, if we had T'Challa, this would be a T'Challa who's gone through his own, meeting Captain America and Captain America Civil War and Iron Man, meeting the Avengers,
Mm-hmm.
doing his own Black Panther, whatever happened in the own Black Panther movie. A very experienced Black Panther. Like we finally get to that point, but now it's like, we're going to have to combine that with moving on and that we have this plot with Namor. I did feel like I think that I believe somebody I saw the movie with told me that's why they think the movie was kind of abnormally long for a Marvel movie because they have to
Mm-hmm.
tackle the whole like we're moving on and then here's this new plot. So
Yeah,
that's why I want to pose to you. Did you feel like they made the right decision? Did you feel like it was satisfying enough for you, or how did you look at it?
well, it's hard to get like too much without too much spoilers, but like a lot of the movie was presented in Sherry's view, so they kind of used her as like almost like she kind of represents the audience a little,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know. And
yeah,
I mean, I personally think maybe they could have recasted. I don't think many people would agree with that, but
yeah,
like I feel like on one hand, like he died pretty recently, but on the other hand, it's like
the character's like so new-ish.
Yeah, like the character still had a lot more to go, like in terms of, like you said, like after like the whole thing with Endgame and Infinity War, like you could tell there was a lot that was going to be set up. So I don't know. Like I know probably like I think a lot of people would have said like it was a little like off key to like recast so soon.
Yeah, so soon.
Yeah,
I think
I think the way they did it was good. I like it was
probably the safest way. I think, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because
like
go on. Sorry,
they didn't like actually. Is this like they didn't like show him dying in it,
Mm-hmm.
So I think they did it in like a respectful way, and they wrapped up the character's arc pretty well as well. So
yeah, that's another thing. I'm glad you mentioned that. They did do a great job of like kind of like letting the audience know like they acknowledge him and things like that. I think if we weren't on like such a timetable to like get these movies out, I think like let's say it's like we're like in the 80s.
yeah,
Like the Batman movies, right? And then like Black Panther, it's a solo thing. I think they probably would have tried. They would have thought about it a little bit
recasting,
more.
yeah. But I think you're right because it's like a whole connected universe. Like,
yeah.
The question is like, how do you recast
that, right?
one, and then how do you like basically like you could do it like you said like with the old Batman movies, like you could do that because it wasn't like hugely connected, but like how do you?
You could wait a little bit too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Time.
But the MCU has done it before, obviously, like
yeah,
with War Machine and the Hulk. But I feel like a lot of people kind of
there's more attachment
resonated,
to it.
Resonated with the character. So like,
also I think like the Black Panther characters. You know, I'm not saying Hulk and War Machine aren't big.
Yeah,
I think Black Panther, like he represents like such a big demographic. You know, people relate and things like that. So like we're talking about, you're saying like how they like, it's not like Disney. I think they went with the conscious choice, like how are people going to react to it?
Yeah,
because like you said, we've seen it before. Like for example, Ant-Man coming out, and then they recasted the daughter. And to me, it's obvious it's because they believe the new actress Catherine Newton, that she's done like movies, and they understand like this girl, she could do a little bit more layered acting. There's more going on, so they could do, like they could find a way. But I think you said it perfectly, that they're just trying to figure out what's a way that's very respectful and that the audiences could all come together for it, right? Like, could you imagine if they recasted somebody, rushed it, and then it ended up being bad? You know what I mean? It's like that would be the worst. So.
But I think another thing is like with the whole multiverse, it kind of opens like the door for maybe more like a way to introduce a different Black Panther, you know. But I don't think people are ready just yet for that. I think that's gonna be something that maybe comes in like 5 years time, yeah. But even then, like they may not think that's too great of an idea.
Yeah,
you know,
they may do it, but like it's not super permanent or whatever. You know, but I think the way they did this one, they didn't like solidify. Like they did solidify what will be the future of the franchise, but I mean like when it comes to like the Avengers and stuff, there's still more to find out how that's gonna work. So
I feel like Ant-Man's gonna be pretty important.
Yeah,
I feel like Ant-Man's gonna be kind of like the Avengers but it's gonna, instead of ending the phase, it's gonna be like the start of a phase, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this movie was pretty important because also they had a certain character that's been connecting us from. I'll give some hints just in case you are confused who I'm talking about, right? She was in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah. That's before, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was her most amount of screen time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the math, but I feel like that was the most we've seen of her in one thing. Obviously, the movie, so it's a little different. So maybe they're kind of like, oh, don't forget this is in the background. So maybe in that way, that's their close. That's their next step. That's the thing they added on, perhaps.
Do you think the movie did a good job of like balancing all these different characters? Like, I feel like some characters kind of got more time than others, but like almost like they had to like focus on some characters more than others.
I agree. So the secondary superhero, I'll say, I think she was a little rough, slightly.
Yeah.
Like, oh my, she's we met her and now she's like super
that wouldn't be
cool.
Is that spoiler territory? No, not
I don't think so, because they have her on the cast list. So
yeah, she was in the trailer.
Yeah. So all right, cat's out the bag, everybody. We're talking about Ironheart. Yeah, she her character. Okay, I thought she was interesting.
Yeah.
Like she's kind of like smart, but she doesn't have like the background to be like rich like Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
But I did think they kind of like went too quick from like point A to point B a little bit with her.
I feel like.
What do you think?
Honestly, I feel like the movie probably would have been better without her in it. Like,
yeah, like they just maybe get like another scientist.
Yeah, like it could have just been anybody in the movie, but I don't know. Like,
or
I
think they hint at her abilities. I think.
Yeah, I think like I saw a lot of like comparisons to America Chavez in Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm. Like, I see that.
And that movie did better with her. But you know, like she played a big part, but at the same time, the story was kind of setting her up more.
Yeah.
And Ironheart just kind of played like a supporting role, really, like not like a main.
Also, I felt like you could get like any other smart character.
Yeah, anyone. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that America Chavez one, I thought, yeah, she's kind of unique a little bit.
Yeah.
For that. So yeah. Were there any? You don't have to tell me, but were there any parts that you were shocked by?
Shocked?
Like you're like, oh, I didn't think that was gonna happen.
Well, it's hard to tell without spoilers, but there were a few, yeah.
Okay. There was a particular ending to a character.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised at a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the way this...
And without spoilers, there's a return of another character, too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking
about.
Mm-hmm. So all that stuff, that's why my theory, and we'll probably get into this with the... Take a shot every time Mia Ray says spoiler. That's called. That's why the ending of that character that I just mentioned, Ray.
Yeah.
That's why I thought, okay, for me. So this is going to the last question for this video. Is did I feel like they just took a plot that was meant to be for the T'Challa character and then just said, oh, add on some stuff to talk about the passing and just replace a different character in the main character? That ending of that character made me think, all right, that probably means like this was a script that they just took and like changed it up. You know what I mean?
Could be, yeah.
I mean, I guess we'll never know because you and I are not Marvel producers or writers.
No.
Yeah, so we don't know the process of making this movie. But that was like my whole theory. So.
Yeah, it makes you wonder like how different was the original movie, like, you know, and how big of an impact would it have had on the future of the MCU?
Yeah. Maybe we'll see like in 20 years or 15 years or when Black Panther like 19 comes out. But
oh gosh, 20 years they're still gonna be doing MCU, I think.
That'd be crazy. I mean, they're setting up. I'm actually Ant-Man trailer.
Yeah.
So this movie. So I'll end with this. The reason why, and I agree with you when you said how this was probably one of the better. I want to say in the thumbnail, best thing to come out of Phase 4. The best thing to come out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a while, is because it made me like very like Spider-Man was great. It was awesome, but this one made me go, I am super pumped for the next thing to come.
Yeah, I like this movie too because like it didn't really rely on nostalgia or anything. It kind of told like a whole original story with, you know.
That's true. I didn't realize it. Yeah.
Yeah, like it wasn't
they built on something. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was the first. Well, other than No Way Home, it was the only movie to be introducing or continuing from an old plot line in an old movie, right? Because I think everything else in Phase 4 has been introducing characters. There's Marvel,
like Shang-Chi, and then like
Shang-Chi, Eternal,
all the shows. Yeah, that's true.
Right?
I didn't think of that. And then technically, if you want to include the Black Widow, right? It's sort of new. It's a new franchise, technically.
Yeah, technically.
Obviously, she showed up before, but you know what I mean. There's no plots.
Yeah. Oh, Hawkeye. You get what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
Like it was the first movie that kind of continued from old.
They made a couple of references to like the first one. Yeah, so I didn't think of that way. Yeah, so it made me super pumped for Ant-Man. I have watched the trailer 4 times in the past 48 hours. Yeah, I'm like very excited. What's good? One is adding on. I'm not gonna get into this because it's not an Ant-Man review. Excuse me.
What kind of
question? I think we pretty much covered it all, right?
Yeah, I mean, we gave our reviews. We
strong.
A little more on the length. Like, I don't think the length was like really bad, but like because like we said, like the middle. I mean, like I feel like there were some parts they could have maybe like shortened just a bit, but like you said, like they had to wrap up T'Challa's character. They had to introduce all new characters. They had to continue Shuri's story. They had a lot to. That's why I think the whole discussion with Ironheart, I feel like maybe she added a layer that really wasn't necessary to the movie, you know?
Yeah. Oh, the comedy. Oh, what's going on? Like it broke up the drama, but like you and I said, we want the heartstrings a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope we didn't take up too much of your time. Our spoiler-free review. Take another shot.
Yeah, we'll have more to say in our spoiler review.
Well, if Mike does not show up,
then
in 5 days, me and Ray will be doing it.
Yeah, sometime next week.
Yes, very soon. All right, so thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoy listening to the video because we enjoyed making it. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're watching it there. And also, take a look down in the description. We have our podcast available on Spotify and Apple. Please subscribe to that. Even if you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, it really helps. It helps us bring a better equipment for Mike to finally get a microphone, possibly. He's the only person who's ever been on the show who still doesn't have a microphone, and to give yourself a better product. So thank you guys, and see you all next time. And stay tuned for our spoiler discussion. Thank you, and bye.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you like what you were listening to, please subscribe to Fans Assemble. And if you can, please give us a rating. Do it for the audio world. They need you.